Hello friends, and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be talking about 5 tips for backpacking in bear country. Whether you're on your way to Yosemite, where you need to have a bear canister to safely hike in the park, or if you're just going to a national forest that has some bear activity, it's important to take proper precautions to keep yourself and the bear safe on your trip. So, let's get started. Backpacking is an inherently dangerous sport, and going out into the woods, obviously there's a lot of unpredictable stuff that can happen. I believe there was a bear that came into camp. I woke up to some intense growling coming from a very short distance away. So I started yelling at the darkness, as you do. You know, you got to intimidate the darkness. And I heard it run back the way I came towards the mountain.
Oh, that's a bear.
That's a bear. Whoa, dude! But following these 5 tips will help you give yourself the best chance that you won't have a bad encounter with any of the wildlife, especially black bears. So let's get started right into it. So tip number 1, be bear aware. Before you even hit the trail, be sure you do your research ahead of time so you know specifically what types of bears you might run into in the area you're going to be backpacking in. If you're in the Pacific Northwest or like in the Montana, Wyoming area, there are a lot of grizzly bears in there, and you might encounter some of them. Pretty much anywhere else in the continental United States, you'll only really have black bears to worry about, but they're still a formidable opponent, and we'll get into that in just a minute here. So after you've done that research, it's also important when you're actually hiking on the trail, keep your eyes and ears out. Look for bears. If you see one that's coming towards you, might not notice you, give a little yell of a "Hey bear," so it knows that you're there. Most bad encounters that happen between bears and people are generally because both parties are surprised and don't know that the other one's coming. Imagine if you were a bear and you're just drinking next to a creek side, can't hear anything because of the rushing water, and all of a sudden you turn around and you see a big scary person there. You might want to lash out too. If you just say a little "Hey bear," it'll usually just scurry on up the hill and not even think twice about it. All right, friends, tip number 2. This one also applies when you're hiking down that trail. Keep an eye out for fresh bear sign. Is there fresh bear activity in the area? Is there a fresh scat in the middle of the trail? Is there a little scratching tree that you can see where there's still fur on it? Maybe some claw marks in a tree where they were sharpening their claws. If you keep an eye out for these things, you can also gauge just how worried you need to be about bears on this specific trek. If there isn't a lot of bear activity, maybe they're not even there, maybe not as populated, or maybe they're not used to seeing people there, so you won't have to be quite as precautious. All right, friends, tip number 3. This one has to do with when you actually get to your camp for the night and you're going to be setting up all your tent and stuff. After you get your camp set up, it's really important to get all of the smellables out of your backpack. So that means anything that has a smell, soap, toothpaste, food, deodorant, anything like that. Extra little snacks and Cliff Bars in your little hip pouches on your backpack. It is so important to get every last little crumb out of your bag and your sleeping area if you do not want an unexpected visitor in the night. Whether that's a bear or some rodents or something like that. You do not want any of that near you when you're sleeping, because diseases or other types of physical harm to either you or your gear. So, remove all the smellable stuff. Be thorough from your bag and put that in either your bear canister or in a stuff sack that you plan on hanging up in a tree for the night. Also, if you're in a very, very active bear area, it is really important to cook away from your sleeping area. Leave no trace suggests the Bermuda Triangle. So that's your sleeping area in one spot, your cooking area 100 feet this direction, off and away, and your actual food cache for the night where you're going to do your bear hang or set your bear canister is 100 feet from the cooking area and your camp. So you make kind of this big 100-foot triangle separating everything. That makes it more unlikely that you'll have an unexpected visitor throughout the night that wants your goodies, and it'll hopefully keep your food more safe, as it'll keep cooking smells away from your food and away from you. So definitely use that if you are in very active bear country, as it could save your life. All right, friends. So tip 4 and 5, these start to get a little bit more intense. This is if you see a bear, what should you do? So, tip number 4, if you see or hear a bear that's approaching your camp, first, start making noise. Give it a yell. It might not even see you, so it might just turn and run away. If it sees you and keeps advancing though, you do not turn and run. If you run away from these big predators, that will trigger a response in them that makes them think you are food, and they will chase after you and they will hurt you. Stand your ground. With a black bear, stand your ground. If you have a jacket on, puff it up big. Get your arms up, yell, make as much noise as you can. If you have some friends, group together, all start making sound. It'll scare them away. They might try to bluff charge you. They might run square at you. With a black bear though, if you stand your ground, 9 times out of 10, they're just faking you out, trying to scare you, and they'll run away. If it's a grizzly bear, that might be a little less that might be more unlikely. You might get hurt with that one. So, especially in grizzly country, be as careful as you can with the preventative measures so you don't even see one. And if you do see one, yell at it earlier rather than later. Don't even let it get close to you, okay? All right, and that brings us then to tip number 5. Should you start to get mauled, that horrible nightmare that's in every backpacker's dream of getting dragged out of the tent in the middle of the night by a bear, what should you do? Aim for the nose. That's all you do. That's all you can do. Fight for your life. Fight back. I know they say with grizzly bears you should play dead. Sure, protect your organs, protect your stomach, protect your neck. Be sure you can't get at anything too soft. But if it's coming after you, fight it back. Most of the nerve endings in a bear are right in the nose. So if you land a perfectly good hit in the nose or in the eyes, obviously it's not going to feel too great and it's going to run. So again, be as preventative as you can. Store your food away from your camp. Get all the smellables out of where you are sleeping. If you see one, yell at it, get big. And if it attacks you, fight back. All right, friends, those are my 5 tips for backpacking in bear country. Please try not to fight a bear. Follow all the rest of the tips as much as possible so you do not get in a bad encounter with a wild animal. It's the best for you and for the bear that way. Now all there's left to say is thank you so much for watching today's video. If you learned something or you liked this video, please hit that like button down below. It really does help me grow the channel and it'll help get more people watching this bear safety content, which is really important. We're also getting really close to 1,000 subscribers, and it would mean the world to me if you'd help me get towards that goal. If you've already subscribed, thank you so much for your support. If you haven't yet, that big red button down there is just waiting for you. So please click it. Anyways, guys, thanks again for watching today's video. I'll see you all in the next one. Stay groovy.